little tent up, my $40 Walmart tent, because he wants to paint in the direct sun, and I kind of set it up to the side over my activities area, which is looking like it's going to work great. I've got my 2 doors ready, and it's primer day for the doors. I'm shaking up my Speedoline high build primer, and we're going to get some primer on these babies. I got the paint shaker a-shaking for the Speedoline Prime Gray, very inexpensive 2K primer. It works really, really well. Alright, so I'm about to the point where I can actually put some sprayed material on a piece of the truck. So I'm happy about that. Now, if you remember, and you've watched my videos, you know that one of my favorite spray guns is the FX3000 Graco Sharp HVLP spray gun, and I've got it set up with the 3M PPS system, and there's also some generic systems that go in here, same adapters and everything. And this is a 1.3 millimeter nozzle, so it's really good for spraying any base coat, clear coat type things. As far as primer goes, it sucks because the nozzle is just too small. So what I did was got me a FX3000, same spray gun, same setup for the PPS system that fits on the top. However, this is a 1.8 millimeter nozzle, and it's great for spraying primers or heavier bodied liquids. Mostly primers are what I'm going to use it for. But I love the gun so much, I thought, you know what, why am I spraying with this crappy Eastwood gun when I can shoot with an FX3000 for primer? So that's what I'm going to be using today. Let's look at the primer. Okay, so it's mixed up really well. This is Speedoline Primer Gray. There's going to be links down below for everything that I'm showing you right now. Here's the activator. This is a 4-to-1 primer. It dries fast. It's a high build. It works really, really well. I've used it a million times. Now, I will say this, that in the old hood, I did have like a bubble in there, and I think that's because I laid it in too thick to start with. So I'm going to go with some lighter coats this time, make sure that there's no reaction between the old paint and the new. I'm going to mix up 8 ounces of primer and 2 ounces of activator, and then we'll be ready to shoot. You have to mix this up pretty well because it is super thick once you put the activator in it. Once I get this mixed up, I'll put it in my PPS cup and we're off to the races. Or we're at the starting line. Or we're ready to get rock and rolling. Or we will proceed with the primering. Okay, so the first round of primer went really well. That gun was freaking excellent. I loved it. This is where the Bondo is. I need to, when I wet sand, make sure that that's okay. And I did notice that there's a little dimple down right here that I didn't see before. So it's either going to be covered up by the primer, or I'm going to have to do just a little Bondo right there, a little glaze putty in that section. Now I'm ready to shoot the other door, which is painted on the other side, so I just really need to primer this top section. Alright, it turned out really nice. I've got a couple little spots to look out for. I'm going to let it dry real well. Make sure that it's cured out before I start wet sanding on it. It shouldn't take long because it's an activated primer. But I'm super tickled with this because I'd never gotten to this point with the truck. So the proof will be in the pudding as far as like wet sanding it down and making sure there's no imperfections on them. But I'm tickled with the progress so far. And the tin actually for $40 made it a lot easier to not shoot out in the sun in my activities area. Okay, that's it for me today. I'm going to drink my Ruby Redbird low carb beer. I've lost about 10 pounds, so woohoo, yay! No cakes, candies, cookies, sugar, Italian food, anything that makes life worth living to eat, I've had to cut out. Alright, you may be saying, hey, you still got a little bit of daylight, weren't you sanding the doors? Well, if you use the 2K primer, right, you really want to let it sit overnight. They say 4 hours, but let it sit overnight, because what happens is it tends to shrink a little bit, and if you sand it before it shrinks, then you can have issues. So I like to let it just completely dry out before I wet sand it. I like to let it cure out completely, which would be about a day, so it quits shrinking and it's ready to go, and you don't have any issues down the road. So super. My awesome takeaways for the day: my small compressor did great. I sprayed all this stuff and it never ran out of air. Now for when I'm painting the whole truck, I'm going to connect both compressors, and that's going to be another video. It's pretty cool how 2 compressors are going to feed into one air outlet. That'll be awesome. Secondly, the FX3000 1.8 nozzle for spraying primer, I loved it. It was freaking awesome. It was easy to clean up with using the PPS system. Super cool. And more than anything, I'm happy that we got primer on the doors, and I'm going to start sanding on them tomorrow. I just want to do it right now, but I can't. Keep watching. The rest of the truck is not going to be that hard. It's just basically some wet sanding, because it's already been painted, most of it. And this thing's going to be coming around pretty quickly. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you being a subscriber. Questions, comments, suggestions down below. I'm David from the Redneck Garage. Keep turning wrenches.